Hi there! Thanks for stopping by for this episode of the Industrial Cyber Weekly Roundup. I'm Bailey, and I'll be running you through the most recent developments in the industrial cybersecurity world. So let's get into it. State-sponsored hackers continue to develop new strategies and malware to disrupt critical environments, a trend which is expected to continue throughout 2023, necessitating an improvement in security and resilience of critical environmental ICS for safe and efficient operation. Cybercrime has become a major concern in the U.S., with schools, hospitals, businesses, local governments, and critical infrastructure being targeted by criminal groups and hostile nations such as China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. Experts say these nation-state attacks have pushed asset owners to ensure that basic cyber hygiene is in place for their OT assets, after decades where these assets were not part of the cybersecurity programs. Cyber hygiene has included extending practices such as asset inventory, patch management, credential management, and network segmentation to OT assets that are often insecure by design. To start with, organizations must have an understanding of their technology stack, and they need to ask themselves some critical questions. The questions include how they can better track activity to and from the network, how network designs align with industry best practices, how they monitor it more effectively for likely risks, and how much friction they can add to user experience, with the goal of aligning the workflow with the risk it exposes to the organization. A joint cybersecurity advisory report was published by US and UK security agencies on the tactics, techniques, and procedures associated with APT-28's exploitation of Cisco routers. The agencies assessed that the APT-28 group exploits a known vulnerability to carry out reconnaissance of routers and deploy malware on poorly maintained, unpatched devices using CVE 2017-6742. The advisory issued by the UK's NCSC and the NSA, FBI, and CISA indicated that APT-28 cyber hackers masqueraded as simple network management protocol to exploit the vulnerability worldwide in 2021. The US CISA and Department of Energy published a Software Bill of Materials, or SBOM, sharing lifecycle report that enumerates and describes the different parties and phases of the SBOM sharing lifecycle and how an SBOM goes from the author to the consumer. It also assists readers in choosing suitable SBOM sharing solutions based on the amount of time, resources, subject matter expertise, effort, and access to tooling that is available to the reader to implement the phase of the lifecycle. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services 405D Program and Task Group released a document to raise awareness about cybersecurity threats, offer vetted security practices, and encourage consistency in dealing with pressing cyber risks faced by the sector. Closely aligned with the NIST cybersecurity framework, the Health Industry Cybersecurity Practices, or HICP initiative, will help develop meaningful cybersecurity objectives and outcomes. The HICP document is split into 3 parts: the main document, and 2 technical volumes. Volume 1 focuses on cybersecurity for small healthcare organizations, and Volume 2 highlights cybersecurity practices for medium and large healthcare organizations. The 405D program also conducted a hospital resiliency landscape analysis that reviewed active threats and the cybersecurity capabilities of hospitals. The document provides a benchmark of better practices and opportunities for improvement in hospital cyber resiliency. The 2 objectives of the study were to develop a clear understanding of the capabilities and preparedness across participating U.S. hospitals, as well as their ability to combat cyber threats. The U.S. Cyberspace Solarium Commission, or CSC 2.0, reports that America's adversaries recognize the importance of space systems to the nation and have tested capabilities to destroy them. The threat from Russia and China is growing, with both those authoritarian powers having placed American and partner space systems in their crosshairs, as demonstrated by their testing of anti-satellite capabilities. The U.S. needs a more concerted and coherent approach to risk management and public-private collaboration regarding space systems infrastructure. The UK's National Cybersecurity Centre issued an alert to Critical National Infrastructure Organisations, or CNI, warning of emerging threats from state-aligned groups. Russia-backed state-aligned groups have been posing a threat to Ukraine for the past 18 months, and this is becoming more prominent. The NCSC also revealed that some groups have expressed an intent to launch destructive and disruptive attacks, and that CNI organizations should ensure that they have taken the steps outlined in the NCSC's heightened threat guidance to strengthen their defenses. The European Commission adopted the EU Cyber Solidarity Act, which will support the detection and awareness of cybersecurity threats and incidents, and bolster the preparedness of critical entities. The Cyber Solidarity Act establishes EU capabilities to make Europe more resilient and reactive in front of cyber threats, while strengthening existing cooperation mechanisms. Funded by €1.1 billion, of which about two-thirds will come from the EU budget, the Cyber Solidarity Act introduces a European cyber shield, cyber emergency mechanism, and a cybersecurity incident review mechanism. The International Medical Device Regulators Forum published a document with important security principles and best practices that affect medical devices across their total product lifecycle. Global adoption of the guidance is predicated on consistent implementation of its recommendations. The document considers cybersecurity in the context of legacy medical devices that either contain software, such as pacemakers and infusion pumps, or exist as software only, such as software as a medical device or SAMD. Importantly, this guidance is limited to the potential for patient harm. Issues concerning data breaches and privacy are not considered to be in the scope of this document. CISA issued 16 cybersecurity recommendations warning of the presence of ICS hardware vulnerabilities across various Siemens product lines, DataKit, and Mitsubishi Electric. The agency also published an ICS medical advisory covering the presence of vulnerabilities in B. Braun Melsingen. These advisories provide timely information about current security issues, vulnerabilities, and exploits surrounding ICS, along with mitigation actions. The State Service of Special Communications and Information Protection of Ukraine published its cyber incident reports for the first quarter of the year, showing a decrease in the number of attacks by pro-Russian groups targeting the commercial and financial sectors, the government and local authorities, and the security and defense sectors. At the same time, the intensity of attacks on the energy sector and the mass media remains the same. It has been a year since Dragos launched its OT Cert Cybersecurity Resource Program, designed to provide industrial asset owners and operators with free, OT-specific cybersecurity resources. The community-focused program enables member organizations to build their OT cybersecurity programs, improve their security postures, and reduce OT risk. Since its launch 1 year ago, Don Capelli, the program's director, disclosed that Dragos OT Cert has over 900 members in over 50 countries. Zage announced its multi-layer access management solution, providing a defense-in-depth approach to every asset across OT and ICS environments. The solution enables organizations to protect their critical infrastructure from attacks by providing defense-in-depth security across multiple identity providers, Active Directory instances, network security levels, and locations. Well, that was the highlights and lowlights of this past week. We don't know what will happen in the coming week, but we do know that if you miss it, you can catch up with us here next Friday in the Roundup, or anytime over on industrialcyber.co. See you there.